Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Sestrino back here for the Real Love Boat recap here on Rob is a Podcast. Still the internet's #1 recap of the Real Love Boat. And look, there are some people that jump ship on the Real Love Boat because they said, oh, I'm only watching it if it's on the prestigious CBS network, not following it to Paramount Plus. Well, those people they're losing today because we have an incredible episode of the Real Love Boat to talk about, and I can't wait to get into it with our Real Love Boat crew. First, with us once again, the bartender. It's Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
I'm very good. It was an excellent episode, as you said. I believe the title of the episode is "Don't Cry Over Spilt Champagne," and as the bartender of this panel, I might have shed a tear of all of the champagne that was being wasted in this episode. It hurt my soul.
Yeah,
and I'm also wondering if
wasted.
it's coming out of my, tips or something. Like, do I have to pay for all of this champagne? But
certainly possible. Okay, we have a lot to break down here with our cruise director, of course, who is an expert on the hot dummies on the island, now covering Too Hot to Handle season 4. It's Kirsten McKinnis. Kirsten, how are you?
Rob, I'm so ready to play Cupid with all of these dummies. Hopefully I can keep everyone straight between shows since I've never had 2 hot dummy shows at the same time. But
well,
we'll find out.
Yes.
And I actually do think we did F Boy Island during Love Island, but that was different.
Yeah. Also, R.I.P. F Boy Island.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Is it dead for
real? It's dead for real.
Canceled. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We didn't even properly cover season 2.
I didn't even watch season 2 yet.
You're
That's
part of the
why
problem
it got
then.
Yeah.
It is our fault, actually.
We're too busy with podcasting commitments and we got the show canceled.
Well,
how many terrible shows continue to stay on? And FY Island, at least the first season was very good. And I heard that the second season was also good. What's happening here?
What's happening? I don't know. Up is down, down is up, Kirsten, that let alone all these hot dummies on islands that this is practically, we need the mess magnets here to untangle everything going on here on the Real Love Boat.
So thank God they finally had a sail away ceremony. We got a conclusion to this kind of 3-episode arc that we've been enjoying very much. We got to see Marty's full downfall, and
I think I say ass.
I thought you were going to say ass too.
I mean, we did also see Marty's full ass both in the Toga party and
it's been like a multiple episode ass showing arc.
But we thought, like, okay, we have these relationships. Things are pretty steady. Like, we have like one like solid relationship here in people that we barely even know in Dylan and Sydney, and really everything else is the dog drinking the cup of coffee with the house on fire. Like, this is fine. I
mean, I think that we need to at least give Kendra and Jordan their props.
They had a scare.
They definitely had us for a second. But ultimately, I think that they are chilling.
Yes.
I think they might win. Like, they might be my new winner pick.
Yeah. Can I make a meme and post it? Tell me if you think that this is a good idea or this is a boomer idea.
Oh, I love this.
So
already.
That it's going to be Jordan from the Real Love Boat, and he's going to be looking at his Uno cards in one panel, and it's going to say button 3 buttons or draw 25. And then in the next panel, it's going to be Jordan from the Real Love Boat, and he's going to have 25 Uno cards.
Oh, that's good. I think that'll really hit on the Real Love Boat Twitter.
Yeah, Love Boat Reddit is going to love that.
Yeah.
I think it's a funny joke, but I think that the draw like 25 meme or whatever, I think it might be over. It might be a boomer meme.
No, I think using old memes like
is hilarious.
But it needs to be like slightly old. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be like last week. Like, it needs to be like a couple months ago. I think that is super cute. So I support that because I feel like I haven't seen that particular meme in months.
Okay.
So
you missed it.
For my criteria, I think it's ironic.
Okay.
It's good.
All right, so officially, I mean, I guess it was like unofficial, but official. Okay, headlines at this hour: Emily and Marty is over.
I'm shook.
Mhm.
I listen, this has been building, and I was just so scared that this was going to end with, you know, someone asking to be with Marty or Emily and them saying, we've put all this time in and I want to really make sure that we give it a full shot, blah blah blah, and then it was all for nothing. No, we got the criteria I love, which I've talked about already. We got a couple broke up and they're both still there with new people. I'm so happy.
Yeah. Kirsten, do you think that Susanna could be a plant to keep Marty on the show as Emily is now going to be dating Mike?
I mean, that could explain things a little bit, but I also think that her date with Dustin was just so dry
bad.
that she had no other choice.
So bad, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think if Dustin had any chemistry with her, she probably would have picked him because she didn't want to deal with the drama of Marty. But it was just so dry she had to go with Marty. And Marty will never cheat on her. So
never. Jenny, how sad was it at the end of the episode when Dustin did not get picked and then went on to say how being on the Real Love Boat was the best experience of his life after he basically was paired up with woman after woman who repeatedly rejected him as somebody who was completely uninteresting and that they did not want to stay around.
And like, isn't this a man that has like traveled so much, like has been all over the world, and like the Real Love Boat where no one wanted him was the best experience of his life? Like, he must have had some terrible traveling experience.
This is the same man who had like talked with Elisa about how much he loved travel, but then was like, oh, and I haven't been anywhere. So I just think that there's a lot of contradictions and confusion with Dustin. He also
it's
thought
like
he was
Nathan and the food, where it's like,
exactly.
It's like, I really love food. I love 2 foods. So it's like, I really love travel. I've been to 2 places.
Yeah, exactly. And he also, this episode was so confused about Susanna, like talking to Marty, like, well, watch out, because I had a really amazing date with her, and then she like wasn't interested in me after that, so she's confusing, and it's like, sir, I know you're the worst date of all time.
You're not getting the signs. Hopefully, although I think Marty, like, reasonable advice where I think Marty could be picking up on things a little bit better and getting the hint a little sooner, but we're here anyway.
And then our third headline at this hour, that Daniel and Shaylin survive a near disaster. But Jenny, is the damage done?
I mean, that's what we're made to believe a little bit at this point. You know, we have 2 very different women in Bree and Susanna, where Susanna could be a plant and is playing the game to stick around. And Bree was like, I'm going to bow out and get out of here, but maybe drop a couple bombs on my way out. And I mean, I think that it seems that, you know, Shay is putting things together and being like, what does this girl have to gain from saying that something happened on this date? Like, ultimately, for her to not even pick him and leave, but still be like, you need to like check your man. And so I think, like, you know, Shay's not a dumb girl. She's thinking about it and she's trying to be like, this isn't just being made up. So I definitely think, and based on the previews, there will be conversations. And I don't think that this is a deal breaker. I don't think that this is as big of a problem as like the stuff between Marty and Emily was. And like, I think that they're still very compatible, but I think this is a very big blemish. And I think the way that they deal with it is going to be very indicative of whether they can last. That is my feeling on that.
Well, my feeling on it is that Daniel also showed his whole ass this entire episode. Like, at the end of the day, he could have just said, yeah, Bree and I had a moment. We didn't ultimately kiss. We had a moment. But he
Like, you could say-
he sounded like he was lying when
Yeah.
he is saying, "Oh, I'm confused. Nothing happened. I don't understand. We never locked eyes. We never blah blah blah." Sir, you had an erection. You literally were so aroused by hiking that you poked
Maybe he just really
her.
likes rocks.
I mean, well, then say that.
No comment.
You know
Yeah.
what? You can just say that. You know.
I
And
mean,
so for
there's
him
so
to-
many different ways that he could like he could skirt around it without like being like, she must have made this up. There absolutely nothing happened. He could be like, we shared a hug, and I think that maybe for her, she felt like it was the kind of thing where there could be a kiss, but like it absolutely didn't feel like that to me. Like, I don't know.
It's
Like
also-
better than just being like, what? She's crazy.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and that's the thing too, is it's like eventually the person that you are like seeing is going to see what happened when you watch the show back. So
How
it does
convenient.
not do
Maybe they
you
won't show
any
that part.
favors.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if that's what he's going for, but like this does not do you any favors. It makes him look so bad, and I could see this
Wait.
becoming like a big issue.
Whoa.
Did Daniel have the foresight to know that Shay is Canadian and she might struggle to watch this show on Paramount Plus? Did he have the
Oh, he's
Oh my
thinking
God.
ahead.
foresight to say, this is, we're going to make it 4 episodes in, maybe. This is going to Paramount Plus. They can't find this in Canada. She's never going to see this.
Well, then he didn't have the foresight to know there'd be a Real Love Boat podcast exposing him.
And really, just as a pro tip to any future reality TV participants, if you are in a situation such as Daniel, where something extremely incriminating is happening on camera, you can use this tip that was passed along to me by the great Jonathan Panner and just simply begin to recite the Beatles catalog. The rights will be so expensive that the network will never be able to use that footage, and you will be able to get away with whatever incriminating thing you are doing on reality TV.
That's the move. And it could have
Penny
been
Penny Lane is in my ears.
But imagine the confessional of Bree being like, he was very aroused and then he started singing the Beatles, and I don't really know what that means.
like, could he pick like a romantic, like what's like a romantic Beatles song? Like, I don't know. Is there like one that like gets the juices flowing?
I think what we want
I made
is
it like 12
for
minutes this time.
not to be flowing actually in this situation.
Well, maybe he's trying to like get out of, he wants to keep the mood going, but he doesn't want this to get on camera. So it's like he doesn't want to kill the moment between them, but he does want to make sure that it will not be on television.
Okay. Let's talk it all through, okay? From this episode, because there's a lot to get to. We are pick up the episode. All the women are talking to Emily. I think that all of the women at this point are all Team Emily. Nobody is Team Marty.
I think
I don't even think Daniel's Team Marty. He's just trying to be supportive.
Yeah. And Mike, he doesn't he's come in and he's really much doesn't want to see Emily get hurt. He doesn't think this is healthy. So like he's really positioned to be the hero in every possible way. Like it's very easy for Mike.
Daniel referred to him as like the knight in shining armor, and then made the very astute point that at this time Marty's flaws are like magnified. So it's like you have this guy who's like acting super chill. He's coming in like, I'm just this fun guy that you can escape and have fun with, and like, it'll all be great, while Marty is like just ripping the pants off and showing that.
We got Marty multiple times in this episode once again being like, I'm jealous. I've never been jealous. I'm just jealous. I'm not jealous, but sir, enough is enough.
Well, he'll also say he's not jealous, and then I'm not jealous. It's just, and then like describe the feeling
Jealousy.
of jealousy.
Yes.
Like,
See,
okay.
Like the only way you can say Marty's not jealous is because Emily was never his, so he's actually envious. That's like the most generous reading of that.
I feel like he doesn't like when she says he's jealous, but the thing that always makes him explode is when she says he's clingy. That's, I feel like, why? Well, I'm not clingy. Why could you say that? You're crazy.
He's like, that is the most false thing I've ever heard in my life, and it is not reality, and I can't believe you would even say that. And it's like, meanwhile, every other point of the show, he's never been more than like 3 inches away from her.
But we just don't have any time together.
Yeah,
we didn't have any
had
time.
no time.
No
We've
time.
been glued to each other from the second the show started, but we've had 0 time.
Okay.
And time is difficult, Marty. It's okay.
Yeah, it's vacation time too, Jenny. That's sort of like wacky.
That's different. The clocks are different.
And that's why it shows that they're so good for each other, because it's been working so well during vacation time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, if you guys are fighting already while you're living, like you're on a reality show on a cruise where all you do is just like do silly little competitions and then have theme parties. Like if you can't get through this part, oh boy, you got a storm coming.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the competition this week. Okay, so we get the word from Matt. Okay, come on down for a challenge. And Kristen, this was sort of like in like the ballroom, which we haven't really seen before, where this was like the first time that we had a lot of like audience participation watching the challenge.
This is a very fancy venue for this challenge of pouring champagne essentially directly on the floor.
It's honestly really disrespectful.
Yeah.
And they had like a huge audience. Like this is the thing that you're watching people with like plastic champagne flutes.
Yeah. Well, Jenny, the plastic champagne flutes really annoyed me because they were very clearly plastic. Champagne glasses, but the sound effect team tried to make us feel like that they were glasses. So every time the plastic would fall on the ground, you'd hear like, oh, I dropped the cup.
And then you see the fully intact cup bouncing along.
Like on the floor. Yeah. No, the sound effects were driving me crazy. Like, I'm not stupid. The post-production work on this show always makes me laugh because it's very, very clear when a confessional gets like, you know, a voiceover gets added and is like, you don't see Rebecca's face. And it's like, she just monologues about something. Like, I always find it very, very funny. I'm at least glad they were using plastic. You know, if they were also just breaking nice glass while also wasting all this champagne, I would be deeply upset. So at least they were using plastic. And I want to know, do you guys think that it was actually champagne?
At best, it was sparkling wine.
Yeah, were they in champagne?
They might have picked some up along the way.
Like it looked the right color. I did see someone take a sip from the bottle of one of them, but that could have just been for funsies.
Do you think it was ginger ale?
It is the champagne. Well, Canada Dry would be the champagne of ginger ale. So
agreed.
I hope it was Canada Dry. Isn't that right? Oh, I hope I didn't just attribute.
I mean, Canada Dry is the best ginger ale, period.
It is.
And especially at this time of year, that cranberry Canada Dry.
It is Canada Dry. It is the champagne of ginger ale. So, I mean, I would be upset that they were wasting all that ginger ale as well. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Well, whatever they did, if they're going to do this challenge where, okay, we're going to let the new people pick partners. And so that's what the challenge is going to be. Actually, before we get there, there's a point where Marty is back with Emily. And Marty wants to apologize to Emily, or at least he says he wants to apologize. But Kirsten, he doesn't seem to actually want to apologize to Emily.
He keeps saying, I hope this conversation will have like an apology. He is expecting Emily to apologize to him for sure. Like, I think they might have edited this a little bit more generously to make it seem like he was planning to apologize. I think maybe he would apologize if she apologized first. And Emily's like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like, so no.
He says to her, I'm really sorry. But then when she doesn't also say that she's sorry, then he goes back to being mad. Jenny, that doesn't strike me as really sorry.
No, to him, it's like a password. It's like, oh, if I say this, then like things will be okay. But he doesn't like that the response isn't like, I am also sorry, and like now things are okay. It was like an indication of, yeah, he has something to be sorry for, and she doesn't feel that she should be sorry. And so that's where things leave off. And like he keeps on like acting like he's like, oh yeah, like I think I got, things got a little out of hand, like I should really apologize. And then like as soon as she doesn't give him exactly what he wants or expects, it's like he's like way back at like the 70s party and like spouting the same BS. Like he's doubling down on the things that he's apologizing for, apparently. So it's like, not only is he like, he's upset that you're not apologizing, he's going to start acting in a way that is like exactly what he's apologizing for, apparently.
Well, because he's apologizing that they got in a fight, I think. But I think he still thinks, oh, I'm in the right and you have way more to apologize for than me, which is so absurd based on everything we've seen of this show.
Or he's like, I'm sorry that we fought at the 70s party when you wanted to have a good time, but I'm not sorry for any of the things I said or how I feel or how
what
I treated
did.
You. It's just like, I'm sorry for like a very minor like condition about what happened.
He's like, but you should be sorry for all the other things. Please apologize now.
Yeah.
We're going to see our new players. They really have so much power, the new players. They're going to get to pick their partners. Dylan chooses Sydney, no surprise. Bree is going to choose Daniel. That we see a lot of Shaylin's reaction to this. She's not thrilled. Daniel is like giving her like the wink again.
How did Bree
apparently
not
blowing
notice this happening when it was happening?
I think that was why this got misinterpreted as like blowing a kiss, because like Daniel was like winking with his whole face, so his like lips were also moving. Yeah.
Okay. Mike will choose Emily again, which was great to see Marty's reaction to that.
I'm not jealous. I just wish I could do this with Emily.
And then Susanna is going to choose Jordan, which gave us a little bit of intrigue here because originally Marty caught her eye, but he just seemed like he's too much drama. So let's give Jordan a shot.
Yeah, Susanna, like that threw me off. Usually I'm not surprised when someone comes in and goes for Jordan. We've gotten used to this in basically every week. But yeah, we had gotten like a little teaser that Susanna thought that Marty was attractive, and then all of a sudden I was like, Jordan. Like I was fully expecting her to pick Marty here. I knew she wasn't going to pick Dustin. But yeah, I was like, okay, a little bit of intrigue. Kendra's sweating a little bit. She's showing her emotions on her face, which she recognizes, and I love that. The daggers were being shot. She's like, bitch, are you crazy?
That's my man.
That's my man.
Okay. So, but she handles it in a much more respectful way than Marty does, for sure. Although that's damning with faint praise.
Yeah. What? Like it's hard?
The bar is in hell.
Yeah. Okay. Jenny, so we get a description of what our task is. The teams are going to need to build a love tower.
Love tower. Tower of love.
Tower of love.
Did anyone else feel like Jerry's eyebrows were like incredibly arched throughout this whole challenge compared to usual?
Maybe
like I felt
like
they were
surprised.
like two triangles. He was so into it.
Oh, like his expression.
Yeah, like his expression had like they were like two little triangles.
He has
like,
a very emotive face.
Yeah.
In general, like they're when he watches challenges, he's fully invested, and I love that. Like he cares. He's entertained. He's having a good time. he wants this to be good television as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I've definitely noticed in other challenges where like his mouth is like agape and he looks like a Muppet.
Mhm. I like how they had like a live studio audience for this challenge. Like Jerry and Rebecca got like a big round of applause when they came
Yeah.
in. Everybody was
People were
pumped
taking
up.
pictures.
Yeah. Okay. So we get the love tower. It's a 3-legged race. The arms are tied. How did the love tower play for the both of you?
I disassociated
Mhm.
for
I mean,
it.
I tend to black out during challenges and in most reality TV shows until Beyond the Edge, where I had nothing else to focus on except for
Mhm.
challenges, and it became my sole purpose is to understand what was happening.
Yeah.
So you know, I guess it was okay.
Mhm.
I didn't love the wasting of the champagne.
No.
It seemed very arbitrary. Like I don't know what, because I feel like a lot of these challenges, there's like a piece where it's like, oh well, this is testing your communication. So it's like when they had to do like the little scavenger hunt thing, where it was like, okay, well, like let's see how you guys work under pressure and stuff like that. Like I guess you could say that this is like working under pressure, but it's like how good are you at like having your legs tied together and pouring liquid into it? Like it just seemed kind of like silly.
You have to move as one when you are in a
Mhm.
couple. You're two
Yeah.
halves of a whole.
That's right.
I guess what is this trying to say? It's like if you have the coordination to
Mhm.
do a 3-legged race
Yep.
with a partner to fill plastic champagne flutes and do a
That's right.
5-level tower, then the chemistry in
Yep.
the captain's suite or whatever, the real Love Boat suite, is going to be A1. Like, is
Yeah.
that what they're trying to say here?
Precisely, Jenny.
Is that what it is?
Yes. Yes. Now,
That's all so this is like, is this something that people should do early on
sure.
Yes.
in
This
real
should be
life?
a first date.
Yeah, this is like
Maybe a third date.
Third date? Yeah. Maybe you don't
I
want to
mean,
break out the
whatever works
ropes.
for you,
Yeah.
as long as you're both in agreement on what date you do this.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah, come on in. We're going to have our 3-legged race tonight to see how fast let's see if you can
yeah,
beat my time.
You can't do
I
a
would be terrible at this.
3-legged race before the third date, or else it seems a little too easy, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then
ideally
there's
not.
the other 3-legged race that happens later.
Mhm.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Only
Okay.
for some lucky couples.
Mhm. All right. So, I want to go back to talking about what's going on with Daniel and Shaylin. When Daniel, we talked about the wink. He also said something that I wasn't really understanding what he said. I like went back and rewound it like 5 times to see if I could figure out what he said. He said that when they basically announced what the prize was going to be, he said, we're only missing one table. Did either of you catch what he was
I did
talking
not
about?
pick this up.
No.
What does
Okay,
that mean?
I don't know. I don't know what he was trying to say. I mean, Daniel was all over the place in this episode.
Only
The
missing one
prize
table?
here was for first place, a trip to the coveted captain's table.
That's right.
Maybe Daniel was saying they only missed one table, but I don't think that's
Well,
true.
because I think they got the captain's table and a date in the port, and then second place just got a date in the port.
Just got a
Wait,
date.
is Daniel saying there was only one week where he didn't win the captain's table?
Maybe.
That's not true either,
Yeah.
though.
No, I don't think so. So I don't know if anybody's
What is
fact checking him.
I mean,
So-
I don't trust a word Daniel says anymore at this point.
Neither does Shaylin.
Like Daniel lied a lot in this episode of the show, which makes me go back and not trust any of.
No.
Like that's how I feel. Daniel starts talking to me, and I say no, hell no.
Mhm.
He did
because
speak truth about Marty, though. At least give him
Well,
that.
but like that's at the point where again, it's like at the point of how Marty is acting. If someone's not speaking the truth about him, The bar again in hell.
I've seen many a man defend a toxic man.
Yeah, but do you think Marty and
for no
Daniel
reason.
are friends? Like, I feel like no one gets along with Marty.
Listen,
I think they're best friends on the
family.
ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't
think
know. I
so.
would love to know the dynamics of the friendships. Because, like, you know, some of the
Yes.
stuff, like, you know, that like Shay and Kendra are like buddies because, you know, Shay didn't want to eliminate Kendra and Jordan. But like, I want to know the gossip, you know? I want to be Ezra at the bar being like, so
Yes.
guys, like, what's going on?
Yeah. Like, we don't care about your relationships. Like, what
Like,
do you,
who's
is
pissing
this a
off?
cool person? Yeah.
Tell me about your friendships.
Right?
Yeah, no,
Right?
I want to know, like, who's bugging you? Like, what are you guys talking about? Give me the full details.
Okay. So, was Daniel throwing the challenge, Jenny?
Hondo P, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because he basically like calls it out where he's like, I'm in a situation where if I spend more time with Bree, it's going to get me in more hot water, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be in a situation where I have to make more of a choice, and I should just kind of not put myself in that position. But by losing the challenge, not being like turning down a date or something like that, or just like, you know, using his words to say, I'm not interested, I'm in another couple and I'm like pursuing this. It's like the avoidance tactic of, oh, we didn't win, I guess we can't spend time together. But this was his way of basically like putting his eggs back into Shay's basket and being like, this is what I'm doing. But we saw what happened on the hike, and he didn't want to be putting himself in a situation where, you know, it's B Gate part 2 and he's having to deal with even more problems. So this is a guy who has won or been at the top of pretty much every challenge. I have to think that he was throwing it, and like they gave us that confessional and then showed them like ultimately like very much struggling. So I think he threw it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Like he doesn't need this like trouble.
It's aggravation.
He's seeing the writing on the wall, you know.
And Kirsten, isn't this a good thing for Shaylin?
Well, yeah, it
A
definitely
positive sign?
It definitely is a positive sign. But I don't know. I think Shaylin needs to see more.
Okay.
I think he just is seeing that he is susceptible to temptation, and he knows ultimately where his heart lies, which is with Shay. And so he's like, I'm just not going to let myself get tempted. And instead of just like actually exercising self-restraint, but
well, he apparently doesn't have any. He's just getting boned.
Oh, okay. That the internet
is starting to
the
censor
internet
that.
came in just we didn't need to hear where that was going. Okay. The internet has self-control too.
They said absolutely not.
So we got it.
Last
we got
week
it.
was enough.
Yeah.
I at least said B Gate this time.
B Gate. Right. Okay. Kirsten, are you back with us?
Oh no.
Okay. We'll give it a second.
I think she has an idea of what's happening based on the frozen expression.
Okay. Jenny, there was some guy talk and some girl talk that was going on the ship, where we saw that, the guy talk was a little bit like, hey, Susanna is pretty fine. What do you think, Jordan? And Dustin's like, oh, she's so difficult to read. But meanwhile, the girls were having some serious conversation. And the serious conversation had to do with Kendra. It's talking about, hey, you do realize that Jordan is my man, right?
She does it in such a way though that it's like you can't even really be mad at her. Like she's very good at like telling people to back off without like coming off like mean. I don't know. I don't know what it is about her.
She's like, what you
but
didn't
she just has this way of
understand here is actually that he's with me, and so we're together. So
like he's very fun. I understand why a lot of people like want to like talk to him. He's charismatic, but he is my property. You see? So
you
I'm gonna
back
need
off.
you to shove off of this one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem like she really ever gets into a spat. Like there was like that one girl
She never goes full Marty.
where that was like, you shouldn't have him on a leash. That
Yeah.
was like the most that someone pushed back on it. But I think that Kendra just has this energy about her where it's just like, all right, like even Jordan, this is the one person that Jordan has been like, he used to be like an F-boy apparently, and he's just like, yes, ma'am. So I just think that like Kendra has like this power about her where it's just like, okay, I'm not messing with you. And it's not even like she comes off mean or like aggressive at all.
Yeah.
It's like just this silent power.
This might have more to do with why Marty gets picked at the end of the episode. It's like, well, what else was she gonna do?
Yeah.
She basically has been like put in her place by Kendra. So she really only had like Marty to choose from.
And I truly think that like conversations took place. Like this seemed a little too organized for me. That Susanna went in with confidence. Cause like if Susanna truly was just trying to stay on the boat, she could have just picked Dustin and just been like, I'll just bide my time here a little bit. So but yeah, there's no point in entertaining Jordan at this point. She says that she just thought he would be fun to do the challenge with.
Yeah.
Which I do believe. Like, I actually
yeah.
do really think being like, okay, well, like, if I have to do a three-legged race and pour some champagne, might as well do it with Jordan.
Yeah.
And I feel like Marty seems like
fun.
I think fun. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think it was a decent decision on her part where she's just like, let's just do the challenge together, see what happens. But also, if she is a production plant, then it's like, well, Kendra and Jordan haven't been challenged in a while. Can we at least get you to like pick
Spice
Jordan for the
up.
challenge?
Oh
like we gotta get some intrigue over here just for a second.
Okay. What I thought was the more interesting conversation in the girl talk that we got was Shaylin with Bree.
Yes.
Now, Kirsten, I thought that it was certainly interesting that Shaylin decided to take this opportunity to tell Bree, that Daniel is actually not interested in you, and he winks at me when you pick him.
I mean, I really liked this because the thing is, Shaylin didn't bring that up first either. She was like, I find it tough seeing you two together, but I'm not threatened by you. I'm not intimidated by the time you spend together. And I know that Daniel's going to pick me at the end of the day. And Bree's like, oh, but like, actually, I could have kissed him and I chose not to. So maybe there's a thing. And and then Shaylin is like, well, but he's always like blowing me kisses and winking at me when you're together. And that just set things aflame.
It's a tricky situation too, because it's like how, and I think that Shay is trying to present this in such a way as like, hey, I like you and respect you. And I understand that you are here to try and find something. But I think that ultimately this is like him and I are a thing. He's doing all of these things to reassure me of this. And as a fellow woman, I'm trying to look out for you and be like, you might be wasting your time and maybe you should, pursue other options. Not that there really are any, but
other connections. Yeah.
But it's such a weird thing because it is also still kind of like, oh, geez, you're just like, yeah, you're not going to get anywhere with this. It's like, but how else do you have that conversation? Like, you know what I mean? This is the situation they're in. It's awkward.
It's really tough. Yeah. I liked both sides of this, actually. Like, I liked Bree being like, I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but like, also there is something going on.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was still super respectful. What I hated the most was after all of this, when Daniel talks about being in a situationship triangle. And I was like, okay, so you're in a situationship with Shaylin also? That's disrespectful to what you've got going on there.
Listen, the definition of what is a relationship and not is it can lead to a lot of mess on this boat here. Like,
yes.
Yeah. This whole thing is a situationship.
It's literally a ship of situations. Yep.
Yes. Should they have called this instead of the Real Love Boat? Would more people have been interested if they called this show the Situationship?
You're making a
Love
good
it.
point.
I
I would watch
mean-
that show.
Here's the thing is I think that they're like, oh, well, it's the branding of the Love Boat. Everyone remember that show? And the people that they want to watch this show or that would watch this show have no recollection of the Love Boat. So using that branding does nothing for it. A good pun like the Situationship, that's great. And if any other production company
Hindsight's 2020.
wants to try their own see if you can make it.
See if you can make it work. Okay.
Yeah.
Would love
All
to
right.
see it.
I thought this was another awkward moment in the episode that Daniel starts asking Marty about Emily in front of Mike. Did anybody else think that was weird?
Yes.
I mean, they're constantly forcing them to have these awkward conversations in these little cabins. Like, I don't know if they have any choice or maybe this is just the only like opportunity that they have to like have those conversations. I truly don't know, but it is very uncomfortable to have them like talk about her in front of each other.
Yeah. Marty's like, oh my God, it's so bad. It's the worst. But like Mike is right there. It's super weird. We hear from Emily. She would like to talk to Marty, but she's had toxic relationships in the past. And so she's fearful this is where this could be headed.
I mean,
facts.
It's been heading.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is the iceberg right ahead.
Yeah, I feel like it's been there. Like it's not even heading there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So then we see Bree talk to Daniel, and they do have an interesting relationship, Bree and Daniel. And Bree tells Daniel, it's embarrassing that I have to hear that you're winking at Shaylin when I pick you. But then she kind of got past that.
Well, I found this very interesting because Daniel, I think 2 weeks, when Bree first came in, Daniel seemed very aware of how do I explore new connections without embarrassing the person that I'm already connected to. And this kind of shows that he has not done a good job of keeping people from being embarrassed by his actions. And in fact, he has embarrassed both of them at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that Bree is like, not letting him get away with things, where I think in a lot of cases, especially if you're like a new person coming in, it's like you kind of just have to like take what you can get, and you can't call anyone out on any like behavior towards you because you are trying to like get them to like you, to like keep you around. And I just like loved that she was just like, hey, this is like a mutual respect situation, and it made me feel stupid to know that like you're agreeing to go on dates with me and acting like we have a connection, and meanwhile you're like blowing kisses over my shoulder. Like that's kind of messed up. I love that she's like, I don't care enough about being here that I'm not going to call you on your BS. Like that was awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's not my thing.
That's the exact amount people should care about being on shows where they will call people out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we get the captain's table, Sydney and Dylan. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Sydney and Dylan on the podcast. Dylan doesn't know what an aphrodisiac is.
I thought it was extremely endearing how he's like, I don't get out much. Like, I don't know what
I'm an accountant.
Like they were like, they're aphrodisiacs,
guys.
and he's like, oh, I don't know, like I don't know, I guess I just don't get out much. And then in his confessional, he's like, yeah, I don't know what that is. Like, I honestly, I might love Dylan now.
No, here's the thing, and I put this in my notes because I think that Sydney and Dylan are lovely people. I think that they are probably very good, nice people. I think that they get along. They're both Midwestern. They have like probably similar like upbringings and values, and they're both very attractive. I just don't think it makes for compelling television, especially because they're both like people that got brought in halfway through the season. I'm not invested in their story. I'm happy for them. They're lovely. They're beautiful, and they seemed very sweet. But it's like that's kind of where it ends, you know?
Yeah. It's fine.
I think they're
whatever.
nice people.
Whatever.
I really do. I actually really think that they both seem very, very good, which doesn't always make for good television. And that's not their fault. They're just being themselves, and it just so happens that being themselves is just nice. It's just nice.
Just nice. You know, don't want to say the B word.
Oh my God.
Well,
the BORING word.
yeah, that can get
yeah.
you into some
Yeah.
trouble. I don't want to
Mhm.
start like a whole new listen, that one war is just ending
Mhm.
probably
Mhm.
because
Is
of
it
the
ending? Let's
I
be
mean,
real. The
Mhm.
war,
well,
the rest of it, sure. But is the war over?
Mhm. I don't know.
listen, the relationship's over. I don't know.
So kind of a
Are
one-sided
people
war. Yeah.
are people still upset about it?
I mean, I
But
feel like it's been a one-sided war, Rob.
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that is the definition of it. But listen, I'm not trying to start any drama here. I preface this with that they seem very, very lovely. I
Yes.
think it's just like and this is something that Sydney says about Dylan all the time. She's like, I just want something easy and simple, and I feel like Dylan can give that to me. Which, like, low key, is that kind of a burn? I don't know. You calling him simple? You calling him boring? A little too easy?
Just
I
looking
don't
for an
know.
accountant from Iowa.
She wants an easy relationship, and I think that probably that's what everyone wants.
Who's like saying I
No
want
lies
things
detected.
to be difficult? Like
Mhm.
that is
Well,
really fun for me.
Taylor Swift, if you listen to her lyrics,
Well,
Mhm.
I'm sorry,
she wants that
I missed
pain.
that one.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So that's what's going on with Sydney and Dylan. Dustin is trying to get something going with anybody. He's gonna annoy
Oh.
Bree. Bree does not want to talk to him.
Well, and Dustin is like, oh man, now I gotta pick my nose in the corner. Like, that's not how you talk to someone you're trying to possibly form a connection with. Like, he's not even trying.
He's
No.
basically being like, hey, this didn't work out for me. Maybe if it doesn't work out for you, then we're in similar situations and maybe we can just talk. It's like it was
Mhm.
like the most like
Yeah.
whimper of a shooting of shots I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Bree would have rather walked the plank overboard the ship than be
Yeah.
paired up with Dustin.
I mean, she
She'll
literally does.
she will literally swim home.
It's like, I will self-evict rather than
We-
to spend any time with this man.
We do not have to wait for the port. I will
Mhm.
jump
No,
overboard and I will swim home.
I'll
It's fine.
swim.
She left. She's like, I'm out. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be here bad enough.
Mhm. Okay. So Marty talks to Susanna, and Susanna explains how she might have picked Marty, but there was just a lot of drama there. And the light bulb goes off in Marty's head. Then he says basically to himself, tell me if you got a different impression. Oh, I could make Emily jealous if I
Yep.
get with Susanna.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I mean, this is how mature people handle these situations. It's like, oh, I will fight fire with fire. I feel like you are trying to make me jealous, even though she's saying over and over again that that's not what she's doing. I
Mhm.
will now make you. I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine. Yeah, that's 100% what he's doing. And also, I think that there is a part of him deep down that is seeing the writing on the wall, and he's like, well, I should probably entertain this person that is talking to me at least. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
And it was such foreshadowing only a couple of weeks ago, really right before this whole saga began, where that they were just talking and Marty was like, if you didn't pick me, that's it. It would be over. I would never go back with you. And that was the first like crack in the ice.
Yeah.
I mean, and that didn't even really happen. It's like it wasn't like there was a situation.
It was a
where
hypothetical. Yeah.
It was a hypothetical, but I thought back to that and I wondered, okay, are we going to get Mike picking Emily first so that the decision is Emily's on whether she chooses that? So I thought it was very interesting that it didn't actually go that way.
We'll have a good conversation later about
the bingo balls.
The bingo balls.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like all of this could be reframed. Marty has basically spent this whole season being like, Emily, would you love me if I was a worm? And Emily's like, I don't even know you well enough to love you yet. And he's like, you didn't answer the question.
Mm-hmm. What is the worm reference?
Are you not on the internet, Rob?
No.
Well, he wants to do
It's like it's the whole thing where a
Uno.
girlfriend asks the boyfriend, like, oh, would you still love me if I was a worm? And if they don't say yes, then you're in a fight.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
So if Nicole ever asks you anything like that, just the answer is yes, I would still love you.
We're trying to help you. If she asks you, would you love me if you don't even need to listen to the rest of the question? The answer is yes, Rob. Okay.
That's easy.
Absolutely.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So Daniel and Shaylin talk, and Shaylin confronts Daniel about the almost kiss. Daniel denies these allegations.
Nothing like that happened. There was no almost kiss. There was no looking into each other's eyes. I don't want to say the B word in case my internet cuts out again. But once again, he literally was aroused.
It rhymes with owner.
Yes. Now,
rhymes with toner.
It seemed like, Jenny, there was a threat that Bree was going to reveal the information about the
Love Tower. Tower of Love.
Oh no.
She did not ultimately. She did not.
No. She did the thing of like, I feel, maybe things got a little interesting. She didn't put it all out there. I thought it was interesting that the way that she represented it is that like that we could have shared a kiss, and not like he was poking me with his erection.
Well, because like nobody wants to have that conversation of like, oh yes, I was on a date with a 25-year-old man, and then when we hugged, I've noted that he was aroused. Nobody wants to talk about that.
I want to talk about it.
I mean, we're here. Yeah.
I'm here to talk about it.
I mean, they made a whole TV show about it. Yeah.
I mean, Bree could have just said nothing. She wanted to talk about it.
I think Bree at first was operating under the assumption that Shaylin and Daniel liked each other, but they didn't really have like a relationship of any kind, right? And so I think that's why she's pushing, because she's like, Daniel, like, you have to be honest with Shaylin, and also maybe there's a chance you'll pick me. But when she realizes that Daniel and Shaylin are like actually a thing, she's like, well, I don't want to mess with what someone else has going on. Like, I'm an adult, I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
And she also like respects Shaylin as like a woman enough to be like, and also like, you should probably address this. Like, clearly you were never really ever going to pick me, but you were acting a little shady. So that's also not great. Like, yes, I do think that you were always going to stay with this woman, but you probably shouldn't have acted the way that you did around me if you were always going to pick her.
Well, I also thought that maybe Bree thought this was kind of a red flag in her book, that he is acting this way, and maybe it was not worth going to battle for.
100%. Yes. I think that was a huge thing for her, where she was like, he's clearly, trying to keep everyone happy and is like white lying here and there. And is this someone that I really want anyway?
Yes.
No.
Especially when he discredits her at the sailaway ceremony, which we'll get to. Okay. So let's go meanwhile, Marty and Emily, okay, everybody's back together. Marty's going to steal Emily again, and they're going to talk about things, and Emily is going to talk about how eye-opening it was last night, the jealousy, the clinginess, which is like a
don't say the C word,
third rail for Marty. And then Emily says that she always put Marty first, and that sends him into orbit, Jenny. What? When did you ever put me first? You never put me first.
And him saying that she doesn't put him first, like, really upsets her. Like, it's just like mutual explosions. I won't proceed with that.
And that's the thing too, where like you can see both of their reactions to getting upset by a conversation, right? Marty is upset and he is directing that anger at Emily and wants to keep talking and keep being angry, even though there's no resolution to this. Emily is like, I can see that you are talking nonsense, so I am not entertaining this conversation anymore, and tries to walk away, which I think is probably a healthy reaction when both people are this angry. Like, you're not going to get anywhere until you've both calmed down.
Yeah.
I also thought it was kind of funny because it was like he started off the conversation by being like, yeah, like I've been away from my dog and my friends. And so it's like he's basically being like, I have, he's trying to give explanations for why he's been acting a fool. And then as soon as she says like the wrong thing, he's like, oh yeah, and then you're just gonna go off and talk to Mike. It's like this is not about you missing your dog, dude. Yeah. Like you are missing something else, and it's the point. Like you are totally like off the rails at this point. And before we move on, I have to mention that Marty was wearing a shirt that Phil owns, and it was so triggering for me.
Yeah.
Like the whole episode, I was just like, he's wearing Phil's shirt. He has literally the exact same shirt. I was like, it had to be Marty. It had to be Marty.
Mm-hmm. So does Phil have to donate that shirt to charity now?
Or? I really like the shirt. It's upsetting.
Oh no!
So I have to wash this episode from my brain after. I think it's the shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I want him to still wear the shirt, but I don't want to think about Marty.
Now, Kirsten, do you think is it possible? Were there other guys earlier in the run on the Love Boat that maybe Emily had her eyes on, and that she felt like that? Her commitment to Marty prevented her from exploring other options along the way? Is that what she's getting at when she says she put him first so much?
I think it's mostly
Dean, maybe a fun-loving guy if I ever saw one.
I don't think Dean saw enough of Emily's goofy side for it to have been an option at all. I think that Emily probably didn't really click with any of the other men until Mike came onto the show, but like she was there to explore connections this whole time. She just didn't have any connections to explore. And so, I mean, she was putting Marty first.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also I think that it was a combination of, I don't think that any guy that could have come onto the boat would have even... Like, they're all kind of, like, gauging the situation and being like, okay, these two that are in the corner and this man does not let her out of his sight. Like, this is not a situation that I'm willing to interrupt. But by the time Mike showed up, there were already cracks in the foundation. So I think that the earlier things, like even if there were people that maybe Emily could have hit it off with, I don't think that she would have even had an indication that any of these people would be into her, because they wouldn't have had the confidence to like go in on this, because like, what am I doing? This is like not trouble I want. There was already problems. Yes. So Mike's just like, I don't know, I'm going in on this. But I do definitely think that for Emily, like what she's thinking of when she's like, I have put you first, is she's thinking about all the times where it's like she's wanted to like have a good time or like, have certain kinds of conversations, and he sets the tone and she lets him set the tone, and she's kind of feeling like, okay, I'm done with this. Like I have been letting you like run the vibe of this relationship, and I'm not about it anymore. So for you to be like, I haven't put you first, this is all I've been doing, and now I'm suddenly putting myself first for once, and you don't like that. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, she expressed several times what she wanted, and that was to have fun on a cruise, which you wouldn't think would be too difficult. And Marty has been like, well, maybe you'll be the mother of my children. I can't wait until you meet my parents. And
I can't wait until you stay in my house and I never let you out.
Literally, like, does Marty have someone in his basement? I don't know.
I doubt it. Come on.
I mean, probably not, but who knows?
Maybe does he have tenants?
Maybe.
Like maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have our dates on Couture. Dylan and Sydney go on a date. They eat gelato. They have nice bodies. They go in the water. Yada, yada, yada.
That is the story.
Gelato at the beach sounds like a great date.
It sounds like a great date. They went into the ocean. They ate
but
gelato.
maybe the reason why Dylan has such a great body is because he's like, I never had this before.
Because he's never had aphrodisiacs. So
No aphrodisiacs? Yeah, no.
He's had
he's
no
never been anywhere.
gelato, no
No
aphrodisiac.
gelato. Yeah.
No, I think that the one thing that I think is really funny is that Dylan talks so much about how attractive Sydney is. I haven't heard him say like much about her personality, but maybe they just haven't gotten there yet.
Mhm.
But he's like, she's probably the prettiest person I've ever gone on a date with. I'm like, I thought we were going like, she's probably the prettiest woman I've ever seen. No, we're not going that. She's probably like the prettiest woman like I've ever been in a room with. No, it's just like the prettiest, maybe the prettiest person he's been on a date with. And then he also says that he hasn't had a lot of relationships. So I'm like, what? How many people are we weighing this against? Like the criteria is getting crappier.
It was a low bar. It was a low bar.
I think that's not fair to Sydney. She's very, very pretty.
She is very, very pretty.
All right. Then we have the Emily and Mike date. They're shooting arrows. You know, we talked about how that Mike is constantly referred to as fun. But I raised the question last week: is Mike actually fun or just fun in comparison to Marty? Kirsten, what'd you make about Mike's puns?
Oh, I did not care for that. But I think that everyone has different preferences. And so maybe for Emily, that makes him a very fun guy.
Okay.
I mean, I think she has like a little bit of cornball to her. So I can
just
see
a little.
Got a fun, goofy side.
Yeah. But again, I think that like Mike is very personable, and I think that she needs that. And you know, Marty is very much like sit in the corner and have a big serious chat, and you know, so it's not even that like Mike is like the funnest person in the world. It's just like he has something about him that like engages her and like brings her out of her shell. So I think it's more that like it's who she can be around Mike, not so much as what Mike is, you know?
And like,
she can be her authentic self.
I don't think Emily wants the most fun person in the world. Like, that's just not what's going to do it for her. She wants
a
the most
little
fun person
bit
for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And like at one point, like Mike was like, yeah, like, you know, it's so fun to see like your goofy side, because like that's me all the time. Like, does anyone really want someone that's goofy 24/7? Like, you don't want Marty where it's like everything is a very intense, serious chat. Absolutely not. But like, do you also want someone that is just like, wow, everything's goofy? Like, okay,
we want somewhere in the middle of the scale from Mike to Marty. Is where the ideal partner is.
Yeah. So it's like somewhere between like MA and MI. Like there's something, you know, something in there.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get to our ceremony. And the bingo balls are back, Jenny. And we are going to bingo ball it up. And this was an interesting draw in the way that it was selected. So the new people, they finally, after 3 episodes, got to make their pick. If they selected the person, they would continue to be a couple if it was accepted. If it is not accepted, they are off the ship.
That's
well, right. And the thing that I was unclear about was like, okay, so if it was not accepted, like say that okay, like say that Mike picks Emily and Emily says no, like, and say like Susanna's after Mike, like, could Susanna just be like, I want to pick Mike? Like,
Oh,
That was the thing I
Oh.
wasn't clear about because
I
like
don't-
why like could they not have hit it off with each other, the new people?
I don't think they were allowed to pick each other.
That's messed up. What if they really liked each other? Listen, we're all supposed to as I'm talking as if I'm a part of this cast.
mhm.
We're here to meet
To explore
the-
connections.
explore connections and meet the right
Jenny,
person.
that
What if that's
no,
one of the new
this is a
people that you're
we
with?
do not explore that on this show. It's not natural. Okay, that new people have to go with people in existing couples. Okay,
You can only be a home wrecker. You can't
You
just
don't-
so happen to come
Yes.
in and be like, actually, the guy beside me, I'm really feeling this. Like,
no.
so I don't know, because like, couldn't they have had like made a deal? Because it's like,
Well,
Mike and
that's
Susanna
exactly
being like,
it. You
"Listen."
can't make a
Yeah.
deal, but they
Mhm.
want
But what
genuine
if it wasn't a
connections.
deal? What if they truly felt something for each other? What if Susanna was like, I had a boring conversation with Dustin in the hot
Yeah.
tub, but Mike's looking real good, and I don't think Emily actually really wants him.
Oh my god.
Why not?
You think
It
Susanna
would
just
break the
wants
show.
I don't want to break the show, but I just want to
Mhm.
know that they're not going to hold these people back, you know?
I don't
What
know.
if
I
they
think
were
it's
meant to
a thing
be?
where it's like if you two
Maybe
are
in a future round.
new people and you want to connect, you can do that off the cruise. But on
Do
this
that on your
boat,
time.
Yeah.
on this boat, you can only be a home wrecker. That is the
Or
Mhm.
it's
nature
like
of
you
this
get
race.
eliminated and you guys can go. We're
Yeah.
dropping you at the port. You guys can go
Do whatever
decide
you
whether
want.
you feel
Have fun.
anything, but you're not getting on TV for it.
Mhm.
Um, I did see some of the clips looked like there was names on bingo balls, and I don't.
Oh.
I noticed
See-
at one point we saw the ball coming out of the cage, and I saw a little bit of a name on the ball, and I was like, "Oh my god, what's going
Wow.
on?"
This is post production. They
Okay.
fixed.
Yeah, they had time.
They
to do
heard
this.
they
Yeah.
heard the podcast. They saw Twitter.
Of course,
They-
that's why there hasn't been a sail away for 3 weeks because
Yeah,
they
they
were
were
busy
trying to figure
editing
it
the
out.
bingo
Mhm.
balls in post.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
All right.
Well, Jerry lied to us where he says, and everyone's name is on these bingo balls. And I said, Jerry, please, we're friends. You don't have to
Mhm.
lie to me. It's okay. We're like Shaylin and Daniel. Like, we have respect. Let's not lie to each other here.
And he's
we're
like,
not like
I-
Shaylin and Daniel. I'm sorry, Rebecca. Not like that.
Oh my god. It's like you're like, "Hey, I know everything's all good. We have a professional relationship." And Jerry's like, "No, nothing has ever happened or I've lied to you.
Nope,
No,
they're-
I've only
Mhm.
told
The,
you
the names
truth."
have always been on the bingo balls, Jenny. I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
He's
Jerry,
gaslighting
come
you,
on.
Jenny.
Come on.
Okay.
It's okay.
So first up is Dylan. He picked Sydney. Whatever.
I absolutely loved when Sydney says, "Yes, I'll go with you." And then Jerry's like, "Do you have anything to say to Dustin?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah,
Right.
okay, I guess I could say that we had a physical attraction."
Mhm.
Which was also kind of weird. but
Weird.
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't feel like they had physical chemistry at all. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe
was
it's
kinda
one of
weird.
those things where it's like a date and they had the Dustin date and we had the Susanna edit of the date.
Yeah,
Okay.
perhaps.
Let's go to Bree. Okay, Bree is up next. Okay, and now Bree has the opportunity here to take Daniel away from Shaylin. Do we think that Daniel would have said yes if
No.
Bree? Okay.
No,
Absolutely not.
he
Okay.
wasn't going to.
No, he knew, and that like if he knew before the champagne like
Yeah.
tower date, like or competition or whatever. Like he threw that. He knew like in another world, in another time, Bree would be someone that he would entertain, but he is so deep in with Shay at this point that he's like, why would I do this? I don't think that he
So-
ever says yes.
Did Bree execute the no, you can't kick me off the boat. I'm leaving the boat.
Yes, but she
Yeah.
did it perfectly and came off as a mature queen.
It was
Yes.
incredible because like she could have if she really wanted to stay
She
picked
could have picked
Dustin.
Dustin.
Like
Mhm.
he basically was like, oh, I've got no options. I'm
Yeah.
picking my nose in the corner.
She
Yeah.
You wanna
chose to
pick
get off
your
the
nose
show.
with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that she was like, I don't need to be here bad enough to force an inauthentic connection just
Yeah.
to have another week on television on Paramount Plus, you know? So.
What I love is that she says, Daniel, you have to be honest with Shay. And he says, nothing happened that I haven't told Shay. And
nothing.
I'm like, we know that you had a B word.
Nothing
okay?
happened.
We know. Like, is this F-Boy Island? This is giving the energy of
No.
This is giving the energy of season 1 of F-Boy Island when someone got eliminated and said, I'm a nice guy. And they had to step in and be like, whoa, no, you're not. You were cast as an F-boy.
Yeah, we have the tapes. We have the footage.
Here's your audition tape where you said you don't respect women.
You can't see the erection on the tapes, but we have the audio that acknowledges it. So it is incriminating.
All right. Jerry looked so upset, Jenny, when Bree was going to leave.
Yeah, I feel like they're like
big reaction.
Oh, people can just decide to leave. Like, this is the first time that someone's like, I'm out. Bye. And I also love that, like, anytime somebody like sort of gets eliminated, like where it's like, you know that they're eliminated because like someone picked somebody else, they wait till the end till like they're, you know, the sail away ceremony is over and then they see them off. Whereas they're like, okay, Bree, you've made your decision. Get the hell out of here. They're like,
I can't believe they were like, shove off, Bree.
Yeah, they're like, well, there's no reason for you to stay for this ceremony because you don't want to be here anymore.
She disrespected the show. She's a quitter.
Yeah. Didn't Jerry tell us that he was not supposed to have big reactions to people leaving the show anymore? Didn't he say that he got spoken to about this?
Yes, I think that was something that he said in his interview. But I also think that Jerry, like Kendra, has a very emotive face. He wears his emotions very, very clearly on his face, and I don't think he can help it. And I think that by this point, they're like, it's fine, Jerry. It's fine.
I think a reaction to someone quitting is very different legally than a reaction to someone getting like picked over someone else, because it makes it seem like favoritism versus genuine surprise at what's happening.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's what he said in his interview with you too, that if he like has a negative reaction to someone getting eliminated, then it like could be perceived as favoritism.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, how is it not favoritism that he's like, oh, like, Bree, why did you go? You could have definitely had a wonderful connection with this here Dustin.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing where it's like, what, you're rooting for Bree and Dustin? Nobody's rooting for that.
Listen,
well,
Jerry's
except
a Dustin stan.
Right, let's talk about now where things really get interesting.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Susanna is up. Susanna could walk off the ship. She could pick Dustin. I guess. I don't think that Jordan would have said yes.
No.
So she says, okay. How about Marty? And we go to commercial and we come back. And Marty, what are you going to do? And Marty has a very interesting answer, I thought. Here's what Marty had to say.
I gotta go with my heart.
Marty says, I gotta go with my heart.
I'm like, oh my God.
Okay.
He's staying with Emily.
Yeah.
He's going with his heart.
He's going with his heart. He's gonna stay with Emily.
I'm swapping Emily for Susanna.
What?
I lost my damn mind. Your heart? How is it going with your heart? You don't even know this woman.
I think he's going with his heart, and
that is broken.
This is his way to stay on the ship so he can make Emily's life a living hell for not picking him.
I am going with my broken heart that is vengeful.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like I feel feelings for this person I have spoken 5 words to. It's I want to make pain for somebody I feel for.
So after this happens, we get this back and forth with Marty and Emily. That is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go line by line here. Okay, here's Marty and Emily.
Emily, what are your thoughts here?
Honestly, I feel like I have a huge weight lifted off of my shoulders. Marty and I were not meant for each other. I'm very relieved, if I'm being honest.
Okay, ouch. This was a relief to be unburdened by Marty.
if Marty didn't want her to feel this way, he could have tried not being a burden.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, you know, for Emily, like, him doing this, it's like, okay, you felt so threatened by this that, like, you wanted to make, like, the first move. And, like, you know, I mean, obviously the bingo balls played into it and Susanna got to pick, but, like, he doesn't know Susanna. Like, he could still say no and then just see what Emily says. Like, so she's just like, no, this is very obvious. This is weight off of me. I don't have to be the bad guy, and I'm ultimately getting what I want here. And he does not like that.
Does not like it. Okay, here's Marty's response.
For me, it's easy to get over something when I hear things I've never heard before in my life. I think the matter of the fact is it's been 7 years since you've been in a relationship, and that was in high school.
Oh, that's kind of weird of you, Marty. What the heck?
Like that's the weird thing to bring up. Like, he's like, yeah, you're so young. There's such an age gap between us. It's like, yeah, she's actually more mature than you, sir.
Well,
Like,
that's the best part of it all, is like the person that has been conducting themselves immaturely is trying to be like, you haven't had a relationship since high school, and it's like, you are acting like you're in high school.
I mean, do we know that Marty has had a relationship since high school?
Well, I thought that he, like, in his package at the beginning. Sorry to talk about his package. That that was just such a weird thing to say. I'm sorry. That he said that he's been single for a long time. Although they all say that. Oh, I've been single for
and it's like 7
minutes.
months. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like that was part of his story too, is that he doesn't get out, he doesn't date. So it's like, I mean, could have been just as long for you.
It's like pot meat kettle.
Yeah. But anyway, he really thought he felt good about that one. He was like, 7 years ago, that you would have been in high school.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Emily has a comeback.
Honestly, I'm going to stay true to myself, and I have realized that I need to put myself first because I have been being brought down by this negativity, but that's how I'm feeling in this moment.
Okay. No more
we
negativity.
Love empowered Emily. Like,
empowered Emily.
Yes.
She's free.
This is
I
good.
stand.
Honestly, this is a red flag.
A red flag.
I'm not going to be brought down by this negativity.
Yes. And Mike, he picks Emily. And then Emily just goes on. Mike is so positive, so optimistic. He's so positive.
Yeah.
And okay. Mike and Emily. It's another match.
Honestly, I hope they get married.
I love it.
Wow.
I honestly love it. And it's so great to, like, have Emily say these things about Marty being like, you are negative. You are bringing me down. And then, like, just complete opposite. I am going to say all of these wonderful things about Mike right in front of you. Like, salt those wounds. This could have been you. It's not. Bye. I am
salt
ready.
In the wounds like it was a cup of coffee.
Exactly. But again, I love that they're both still there. Like, this is great.
Exciting.
Like, I would not have been satisfied if Marty just shoves off here. Because not that I want Emily's life to be difficult, but I just think that Marty needs to see her be happy and like see her move on and like be a good, wonderful version of herself, and then be like, wow, I really messed this up. I think, like, because if he's not there to witness it, I don't think that he ever truly gets it. Maybe he doesn't even after this, but I want him to have his face
wow. I don't want to be there.
What do you mean you don't want to be there?
I don't want to be there.
On the
you were doing it. You were doing it. It was a RHAP up that you had half of the deep dives and Jenny had the other half.
Man. Well,
post-game interviews.
Okay. If you want another feud for RHAP, I guess I can do the Marty deep dive, but I don't think that it will be very listenable.
Okay. Think about it.
Honestly, I think it would be really negative.
But people might like that.
People would like it.
There is probably an audience for that.
Yeah.
They want to hear Kirsten drag Marty.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so we have, I guess, 6 couples now, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So with only 2 episodes to go, so Daniel and Shaylin, they are still together. I feel like that Daniel had like a weird reaction to everything at the end of the episode.
Oh.
Kirsten, did you catch that?
He was said, you know, people have bumps in the road, and at the end of the day, we're still standing.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really give the most faith in this relationship, I'll admit.
Well, I think that from the moment Bree said what she said before she shoved off, I think that like Shay throughout all of this was like kind of being like, something's not adding up. Like the math is not mathing. Like, why is this girl saying these things?
Mhm.
And for her in like her final moments where she has nothing to gain from this anymore, she's leaving. She's not trying to get Daniel anymore. She's saying this like, Shay, I don't think is like paying attention to what's around her. Like she's very fixated on like what happened.
Yeah.
And I think obviously like Daniel's picking up on that. So he's like, oh, we're still together. It's good. We're fine. It's gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So he's picking up on the fact that they're gonna have to have a talk.
They're gonna have a talk.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dustin is eliminated. Best experience of his life, but time to shove off for you. Next,
Sorry,
yes?
when they said shove off to Dustin, it was so kind. It's like, okay, Dustin, it's time to shove off. Like
Shove
it was
off.
just like so like low. Like you could tell she didn't want to say it, but like they've been saying it every episode,
But
so
they've
they
been
have
waiting to
to.
say
No,
it,
I
yeah.
truly believe that they came up with this the first episode and they're like, yeah, like that's so good. It's so funny. And then like being the, you know, like empathetic humans they are that
Yeah.
get attached to these people, they're like, I
But
don't
not to
want to tell
Dustin.
them to shove off.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
Dustin is like openly weeping. It's really hard to like
Yeah.
be mean
It's the
to
best
someone who
experience
is
of
crying
his
that
life.
hard.
And had they this is the best experience of their whole life.
And
They're like, well,
they're
And like
ending it.
nobody
Shove
liked
off.
them. It's like he came on a cruise, nobody liked him, nobody wanted to be with him for more than 3 days, and then he got eliminated unceremoniously, and he said, "This is the best experience of my life, and I'll never forget it." Like this
Shove
is
off.
Old Yeller. Take him out behind the shed. This is horrible.
Yeah. If Old Yeller was a penguin, it would be Dustin's story.
Oh,
Oh my god, I can't believe it. No one's
Cold
ever
Yeller.
said that before.
Yeah. Okay. Next week, we're going to Sicily. Jenny, is this the White Lotus Love Boat crossover we've been waiting for?
No. I hope not. I think it's gonna get messy. This is not what we signed up for. I mean, perhaps. Yeah. Is Mike White nearby? Is he writing stories about the real Love Boat?
Mhm.
I would love to
The
see
White
that.
Lotus season 3.
On a cruise.
Yeah.
I
it'd be very
don't know. I
exciting.
feel like I don't want to think about the dark turns that this story takes.
I mean, there's been enough dark turns in this.
Yeah,
story,
and
let's
I don't
be
know
very
where I
clear.
want it to go. I don't know
Mhm.
if I can handle it going further.
Okay. All right. And that's the real Love Boat. 2 episodes left. We'll see where it
Yeah.
goes. Kirsten, what's coming up for you?
Too Hot to Handle is here, baby. There's going to be a few panels coming up.
Mhm.
At the end of this week, I'll be recording on the first batch of episodes, I think, with Puya and Brian Scally. So maybe this episode will shame them into confirming that. And then
Call
it's
them
gonna
out
be,
publicly.
It's going to be really
Yeah.
fun covering week 2 as
So
well.
cute
which will
that
come
you
out
feel like
next
they're
week.
listening.
You're right. That's a very good point. But that's fine. I'll just clip the audio and send it to them.
Just drop the
Mhm.
YouTube link right into like the chat with
Boom.
them.
yeah.
And then timestamp.
Yeah. Hey, listen to this at this time. Rob
I
said
made a
something
really cool
funny.
Yeah.
And it's me being like, please come on the podcast. But yeah, so that is coming up. It's going to be super fun. And follow me everywhere at Kirsten Said What, including twitch.tv. And of course, listen to the Mess Magnets with me and Sasha. We broke down some really fun topics this week. So please check that out. I think
Okay.
that's all.
All right. as Emily would say, the mess magnets, I think.
Magnets.
I mean, if Emily's saying it like that, that means that's how I just said it. So I don't know what else to say.
No,
Okay.
it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same.
All right, great job tonight, Kirsten. I'm sorry that the internet had to strike you down.
It's, you know what?
You were censored.
Sometimes the internet knows better, and I probably shouldn't have been saying
I
what
think it was like
saying.
future Kirsten. It's like, you're trying to like stay employable. Don't say this right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that ship has sailed, first of all, but
my internet does not want to save me.
Jenny, what's coming up for you?
Rob, would you believe that I do have something coming up?
What's coming?
It's been a little tradition that in the penultimate episode of Survivor, when Mike Bloom joins you for the feedback show, that we do a little fun thing on the RHAP B&B where it's double date week. And Phil T and I join Liana and Puya. So that will be coming up for this week's Survivor episode, probably sometime over the weekend. That will be a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk about Survivor with my fun friends.
Now, why are you saying it like you are like kidnapped and this is like a ransom note?
What do you mean? Like,
the way you were saying, it's going to be fun, was kind of like, it's going to be fun.
It's weird to talk about things. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's a really bad podcast. It hasn't happened yet. I hope it's not.
It's a podcast of you, Phil, Liana, and Puya. It's going to be a goddamn delight.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I know I will have fun. Will the listeners have fun? I don't know.
Yes.
I hope so.
If you're having fun, they're having fun. That's the word.
I hope that everyone has a great time. I've had a really good time every time we've done this. So if you like chaos and games, join us in the double date version of the B&B coming up over the weekend.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
And we'll be back next week. Even though it's the Survivor finale, we'll be back to talk about the penultimate episode of the Real Love Boat here on RHAP. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Go to robhasawebsite.com/subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Leave us your ratings and reviews. We'll be back next time. Until then, shove off.